to MORE-VILLE, Orville, the podcast that reviews the Orville, your favorite sci-fi comedy. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen. I'm joined by G.I.Jolie.
That's me. That's me. G.I.Jolie is me.
Woo! Also, Champ-Ian.
Hello, how are the two of you doing this afternoon? This evening?
Great.
It is evening as we record
I was
this.
outside swimming in the humid heat all day, so I feel like complete shit. But other than that, I'm awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. I have heat stroke from yesterday. Mm-hmm. And now that Mother Nature is trying to drown us off of the face of her, instead of scorch us off the face of her, I don't really know what to think about our relationship. So, how are you?
It's a tumultuous relationship to say the least. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of the same over here. I mean, drowning us off the face of the earth sounds about right. And even when it's not raining, the humidity, I mean, you're kind of swimming through the air.
Yes, unbearable.
It's gross.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, there's plenty of good TV to stay in and watch, right? So that's what I like to do, just turn on the AC. I usually try to go the entire summer without turning the AC on, but no such luck this year, you know?
No.
Yeah, this entire summer, I've gone basically the entire summer without turning it off.
Yeah.
Kind of the opposite of my my usual as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and
anyway,
it was like immediately hot too. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was raining and then it was scorching hot. It was no in between. Anyway. So we're here to talk about the last episode of the Orville ever.
Oh boy.
Hopefully not, but let's put it this way: season 4 is not in production, so it is definitely up in the air. Right? We don't know what's going to happen. Also, none of the actors are contracted past season 3.
Oh no.
And as of today, Seth MacFarlane has gone only so far as to say there is a 50-50 chance that there will be a season 4.
Yikes.
I like those odds.
Right?
At the same time, I don't like those odds. It's kind of equal. I kind of like them, I kind of don't.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I mean, we're definitely going out with a lighter episode. And Champ-Ian is going to tell us what happens in the both A plot and B plot of this episode.
Yes, there are exactly 2 plots in this episode. The A plot opens with Isaac walking around the ship to some little ditty playing in the background. Actually, it was an interesting open for me because I thought there was something wrong with the stream that I was watching because he's talking to people and you're not hearing his voice and you're just hearing this song. But then he gets up to the bridge and we realize that no, there's nothing wrong with my streaming box after all. So this episode follows Isaac around as we go to there's a ceremony for Bortus and Clyden. They're renewing their marriage vows. So Bortus chases Clyden through the woods and they perform the sexual event. This moves Isaac to such a degree that he asks Claire to marry him. And there's some back and forth whether or not she's going to actually accept his offer or not. And she does. So the A plot follows Isaac around as he tries to put together a wedding. For our B plot, we revisit the Black Mirror planet, I think from the first season, where everybody has those badges where you upvote and downvote people, and Lamar dances with a statue. What is our barista's name again?
Lysella?
Lysella, yes. Yeah. We go back to her planet for some reason. I missed exactly why, but she
just randomly called. That's what threw me off too.
Well, she was randomly calling up, but they were on their way there for some reason anyway.
They were there to because they still have researchers on the planet, right? Kind of in hiding amongst.
They haven't all been lobotomized yet.
No.
No. Okay.
Thankfully, no. Or yeah. Lobotomized, downvoted into oblivion, same thing.
So we head back to that planet, and Lysella requests asylum. She comes back to the Orville. We follow her around for 4 hours while Kelly shows her everything on the ship that we've already seen before. And there's a moment of tension where it looks like she's going to steal some stuff and bring it back to her planet to change the world, but that doesn't happen. And that's basically it. She decides to stay, and nothing of consequence happens there. Then there's a wedding, and that's the end of the Orville forever.
So wait, okay. So let's just talk about one thing first. Let's talk about the B plot. Can we agree that this should have been exactly 2 episodes?
It should have been exactly 2 episodes, one of which shouldn't have been made.
I was going to say, does it have to be 2? Can it just still be 1?
Yeah, because I mean, like
one good one.
The whole Lysella thing, not even B plot material. That's E or F plot. Like, there's nothing there really. Like, there's will she stay or won't she stay? Like, okay,
right.
We get this. I don't know. I felt like the B plot was, I don't know, like talking down to me the entire episode, like telling me that once I grew up, I could have all these nice things, right? Because their planet is such a parallel of our planet now, and I don't know. It just felt condescending.
Well, here's the thing: is besides that, I mean, obviously there wasn't enough for a full episode in that plot, and I'm not talking about length. I'm talking about virtually nothing happens, right? Mm-hmm. So you maybe have enough for like an act 1, and then you'd have to have something else happen. Maybe she steals more, maybe something goes wrong, but it not only was not enough for an episode, but it wasn't enough to like, why fill up this episode with a plot that has nothing to do with the wedding at all? Mm-hmm. You could have excised it with a pair of scissors and it wouldn't have affected the plot, right?
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
No,
they tried to shoehorn her into that, and hey, do you want to help us plan the wedding? And they use that as a vehicle for her to get a glass of water, and for her to scold them about, oh, you could save my planet with this, and
it just seems like a completely needless reason to pack the episode, to fill up the episode. Jolie, what'd you think?
Yeah, there are a lot of great messages about like things maybe humans and Sargans can consider. You know what I mean? Like, you know, maybe there are alien races who are watching us, and because we can't evolve beyond killing each other, we don't deserve the technology that they're waiting to kind of give us. Cool. But could they not? I feel like there just could have been like a different way to do that, and also, it's not really been the message hasn't really been like the motivation for their exploration. So to kind of hit us with that and try to impress upon us the lesson that's to be learned, it wasn't as strong as it could have been, since it's not the main goal of the Orville, like the ship, or like literally anyone in the Planetary Union, even though it kind of is a little bit. We got a hint of it back in the episode where they first go to Sargas 4.
Right.
And like, but we never really get there again.
The thing is, I like the idea of following up with her. There's nothing wrong with the basic idea. It's just that they didn't go anywhere with it. That's my problem.
There was nothing there. Like, there was really nowhere to go, right?
No.
I mean, you really can't. If you're pulling anyone off that planet, it's got to be her, because she's the one that knows that they exist. But she doesn't have, in the universe of the show, she doesn't have the ability to cause any particular drama.
Right.
She doesn't have, she can't really move any plot forward. Now, if she had, and I guess, like, they tried to give her something by having her steal some stuff. If there was some way that she could have actually stolen some stuff, and then, now they've got to go and fix a problem.
Right.
But this just seemed like show and tell to me. And it's something that if I was on the ship, I think that would be kind of cool, like to show all this to someone new, like that sort of fish out of water. But even that, like, why are you, hey, this is the quantum core. Like, she doesn't care. It's just a bunch of fancy stuff that you're showing her for no reason, because these are set pieces that they have that they can fill up time with.
Well, here's the thing now. Now, at the end of the show, she does stay with the crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at least this could potentially lead somewhere where now we see the technology of the Orville through her eyes, which isn't a bad idea. I don't mind that at all. It's kind of a cool idea to have a 21st century level person on the ship. That's fine. It's just that the way they got there was just bland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
but
like
anyway.
they have this woman from another planet who you're it's assumed that by showing her all this technology, she's going to be like in awe of it. Well, here's the other thing: the A plot is about like a galaxy full of people who have progressed so far that there's a woman who is about to marry a robot. A robot.
Yeah.
Like AI, and no one's batting an eye. You know what I mean? Like that is kind of maybe the technology lesson. Like maybe could have been. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's so hard.
You're right. If they would have tied that together, at least it would have shown her bafflement or bewilderment or whatever, right?
Yeah, and
Something.
they could have questioned. Like I like what they presented as like a potential problem. The whole we can't interfere or why they can't interfere. And it's because Sargas 4 is a fledgling planet at this point, and they could destroy each other tomorrow, and they haven't proved their worth. But again, like I said, like that hasn't been something that comes up all the time every time they see a new planet, and they haven't really explored new planets at length for us to kind of get that that's the motto of the Planetary Union, or like
right.
So,
well.
I feel like she should have been way more weirded out.
Yeah.
By Claire and Isaac getting married.
Good point. But again, they seem to have been written as two separate plots, and I think we've put more thought into this review of that plot than the plot itself. So now we're going to talk about the A plot. Now we're going to talk about the big marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Which, to be honest, I thought came pretty. I mean, if they thought it was the end of the series, it makes sense. But I kind of thought they'd stretch it out a little bit longer, but I guess not.
What, like the engagement?
Well, the engagement, yeah.
You mean the fact that they were going to get married at all? Like,
yeah.
Like it did come kind of quick on the heels of Isaac's betrayal of all biological life forms.
Right.
You did just try and exterminate my planet 8 months ago, but yes, you're going to take care of my progeny.
All is forgiven. Yeah, I mean, again, compared to previous episode, this one was light, right? Like, it wasn't the end of the universe or anything. I thought it was pretty fun, and I must say, we talk about the change in the humor in this season, but I did like the Bortus bit with the best man speech. First of all,
I hated that bit. Sorry, go on.
Oh, you did? Oh my God, I loved it.
The whole speech or the conflict with him and Malloy being the best man?
Well, okay, going back to the beginning. So Malloy was offered to be best man. Bortus takes over. Now, the way that Bortus took it was a little bit harsh. Like, it was almost like it wasn't. They didn't butter it up enough with humor. It was a little bit too harsh. But then later on, the speech, when all kidding aside, I thought that was brilliant. Ian, you didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all. I don't know. It just there wasn't any. I don't know. There's nothing humorous about it. He just said, "Oh, this marriage will fail. All humor aside."
Yeah,
good luck.
But that was what made it funny.
But it was I don't know.
Yeah, Isaac, you were involved in the almost extermination of every biological being in the galaxy. All kidding aside.
Yeah, that was great.
Mike still thinks it's funny.
It just seemed a little bit too stark. I don't know. It didn't seem funny to me. That entire right when he stood up and he's banging on the glass, and nobody says anything. Like everyone keeps talking, right? Like,
yeah.
I knew exactly how this scene was going to progress.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Okay.
And I know that they're they wrote everyone to ignore him because they wanted him to stand up and yell, "You will be silent." Like, I saw that coming a mile away, and
did I.
It took all the wind out of that, and I was kind of hoping for him to at least have made an attempt at humor, right? Instead of him just starkly yelling at everyone about how this marriage will fail. All kidding aside, no, make him try a little bit. Like, it's like he didn't even try.
I know what you're saying. Like, even if he would have said this marriage will likely fail because that's more of an attempt at something than just stating
give
a
it
fact.
some nuance. Give it some
Right.
nuance.
Yeah, because like, aside from the fact that a wedding is maybe probably like the wedding that they're also celebrating is an earth customs from the 21st century and before, and like also a mainly North American style thing. They wrote it as if Bortus and literally everybody else were like ignorant about customs. They would be ignorant about customs, but Bortus would not have been ignorant about speech giving. Like, so why is the speech lousy? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And we know that he is capable of like sentimentality because we've seen it. And this is something that he would like, he's the type of intelligent being who'd be like, okay, this is like an event that would be like, you know what I mean? He's not dumb. He would know that what would be required of him.
And to be you're completely right about that. He would have done he stumbled over that to the point that like Isaac would have done a better job. And Bortus, like he comes from a race of people that has feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if he had written a joke about the fact that they aren't both like male presenting species marrying, and maybe that is a reason why they wouldn't fail. But we even know that Bortus is more progressive than the rest of his species, so he wouldn't even say something like that. Maybe Clyden would, but like he was written in the way that like Isaac would have been written.
That's a good point. Like, completely clueless about emotions and customs and how they work. I'll give you that. However, despite everything you've said, I still laughed out loud, so loud that I broke the windows. But anyway,
I did too. I didn't break any windows, but I there were chuckles and like, oh my god. Aaron was watching it again with us. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
But like, we were like,
yes,
gagged. Yeah.
Also, mentioning Clyden again, was anyone else as annoyed by his chants of bravo a couple of times, like during the Elvis when Bortus was trying to sing? And where did that come from?
Well, I'll give you it almost seems like the show has been reset and we've ignored the whole thing with Topa, the whole thing with Clyden, almost the whole thing with Isaac, and it's almost like this is set like 2 years ago. Is that what you? It's kind of like, I mean, besides.
No, I'm just thinking like it's just this stuff seemed over the top.
Oh,
like Clyden all of a sudden, bravo. Where it did not seem like that didn't sound like any character from the show I've ever heard before. Like, where did this come from? It's like it's like you're trying to ham it up to be funny.
True.
Because this is maybe your last chance to get back some of this humor. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff like that about this episode that bothered me.
The other thing is even with the whole joke about when Bortus is like, "You will be silent." Well, also it's been done before. Like, it's literally a rehash of an old joke, right? Which
it's a joke that's already been rehashed.
Right. Yeah. Has it been rehashed? Is this the third time?
I'm sure it has. I'm sure.
Okay.
It has.
Well, in any case, this had a slight case of sequelitis, right? Where you're rehashing old jokes. Sequelitis is where you water things down a little bit for the audience. So I'll give you that. But it's more like when I think about it, it bothers me. But when I was watching it, it didn't bother me that much.
No.
It was bothering me at the time. Yeah.
I just forgot about the DC plot.
Okay.
Of them getting remarried. I was like, oh, maybe he has this renewed sense of loyalty to his partner because he was raped in the woods to renew their vows.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think that's the scene that worked the best for me. I mean,
actually.
Maybe this is why I was sort of disappointed by the rest of the episode, because I got off on such a strong footing with that. Watching Bortus and Clyden drop trow in the middle of the woods, and then him chasing him through the trees, and it was hysterical. Yet the musical interlude during this entire thing, it just the atmosphere was so serious. Like, there was high stakes to this. But watching them run naked through the woods, I didn't know what to think. It was hysterical.
And then when Clyden throws a rock at him, I was like, oh, shit.
That was awesome. Yes.
Boris's annoyed face as he picks up this boulder off his face.
Yeah, so good.
So, okay, so obviously now they're married. I mean,
Remarried.
I think it's huh?
Remarried. Or renewed. They didn't technically ever separate.
Oh, no.
Because a divorce, doesn't that involve death?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
No, but I actually meant Isaac and
Claire.
Claire. They're married now. So, I mean, I'm happy about that because, it has all kinds of possibilities. If the show continues, I like to see where it goes.
And it was a nice way to get Mark, whatever his last name is, I'm sorry.
Jackson?
Yeah, Mark Jackson, to get him into his Isaac human form for the very potentially last episode ever.
True. Then we also got to see Halston Sage come back as Alara Katan. That was great. That was another nice surprise.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. When she walked, the transport's docked, and then she shows up during the reception. Like, seriously? You've been off the ship for a couple of years now, and one of your very good friends got married, and you've got a spaceship, but you're 45 minutes late. Why couldn't you get to the ceremony? Come on.
Oh, I know, but that's dramatic
I had a conference.
License.
Well,
that's dramatic license. That's timing. Because if she would have showed up like earlier, it wouldn't have been dramatic. It wouldn't have been like,
you find a way to make it dramatic.
I don't know. I can forgive that. I didn't care that much.
I did.
Not at all.
I thought it was lazy. And if I noticed it at the time, and if I noticed this stuff at the time, you got to do a better job. Sorry.
Yeah. Joey really did like those, but when she saw Lysella and when Lysella saw her, they're like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, that was cool. And that was the only good part of her ever even coming back for this.
Yeah.
So I guess then, this is also Norm Macdonald's last appearance as Yaphet, unfortunately. He didn't really get to do much.
He didn't do much all season, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? I get obviously they didn't know what was going on, probably. So I don't know. It's too bad.
Yeah.
So I guess then the question is, I mean, because it sounds like, I mean, I liked it more than you did, Ian. But are we rating these? I don't even remember. Are we rating these?
Well, I think we were kind of. I don't know. When it's a good episode, we give it a good rating. I'm going to give this one a C-.
C-?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, if you took out the B plot and just focused on the A plot, I'd give it a B-.
It's like it's somewhere between like a C+ and a B- for me. I really enjoyed it. It was really light.
It was kind of sitcom-y, a little too sitcom-y for me, like, but in a fluffy way, right? Like, one scene like this is the sort of stuff that there's no consequence to it, but that scene where Kelly and Claire and I forget who else, it was three of them, they were drinking wine and they were talking about whether or not she's going to marry him or not, and Ed comes in and they're like, hey, sober person, we need you to help us out with this. And he gives them some good advice. And they appreciate it. Okay, sober person, you've helped us out. And he leaves. And then it cuts back to them and they laugh for a moment. And then they cut and go to the next scene. And like, no, don't have them laughing. Just, he said something clever, cut it there and then go somewhere else. You don't have to have them laughing so we can see it, so that we can see it's funny. No, we know it's funny. We don't need to see that reaction.
That's a good point.
There was another scene on the bridge a little bit later on where Malloy said something funny, and it sort of pans over to Kelly, and she gives a little smirk, like, "Ha!" Like, no, I don't want to see these reactions. I don't need to be told that this is funny. If it's funny, I'll laugh. I don't need to see somebody else laugh.
That's actually a great point, and that applies to, well,
and they
sitcoms.
Didn't do that before. They do it now for some reason, but they never did that before.
Yeah, I noticed that years ago when in any comedy, the characters in the show cannot be laughing at what's happening, because if they think it's funny, it's not as funny. It's not as funny to us. It has to be like embarrassing or absurd or ridiculous, right? And then we can laugh at the situation. But you're right, the characters shouldn't be laughing unless it's like something that's not I don't know. That's not supposed to be like comedic. That's supposed to be sort of like whimsical or whatever you might call it. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, it was like a lapse in judgment on the part of the editors or the director, which was of course Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. And like you was saying before, I feel like we maybe liked the whole renewal of marriage thing because it's the only thing that felt Orville to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the whole idea of Lysella coming onto the ship and then the marriage, it didn't feel like something they would do on this show. I don't know. It all seemed very, very strange. I feel like they even like shoehorned Yaphet in there just to kind of like play fan service for a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I agree that there were different things that felt off. Not so off that I didn't enjoy the last episode. But.
True. Like it's certainly not the worst episode of the season, and I'm giving it a passing grade. But there's just other little things like the bachelorette party, and all of a sudden Claire's up on stage dancing with the holographic robot.
That was weird.
That was weird. It was weird because she's not She's not interested in him because he's a robot.
Yeah.
She's interested in him in spite of him being a robot. So putting some random robot up on stage, that's not going to do it for her.
Yeah.
She feels the most connected to him when he is on the simulator in his humanoid appearance.
Good
so
point.
I'm like, oh, this robot is stripping? I mean, okay, I'll give you an extra point for the robot nipple tassels. But beyond that, everything about that scene was kind of like, no, this wouldn't happen.
Okay,
Yeah.
what about Bortus as Elvis Presley? See, okay, I thought he was funny when he looked like Elvis, but then they cut away in this weirdly timed, like he's about to sing and they cut away. Then when they cut back, he's doing Love Me Tender, which is a sad song, which I thought was funny, but I think they could have been a lot funnier. You know, they could have done something more.
It was who was it that it was Bortus that organized everything, right? Mm-hmm. So you think that it's going to be like this grand thing, like, oh, Las Vegas, 21st century. I've heard the bachelor parties at in that time period were wonderful. And then he comes up on stage as Elvis, which is like not even something that people go to Las Vegas to see. They go to Las Vegas to be married by an Elvis, but they wouldn't go to like an impersonator show necessarily.
No,
they might go to like a Britney Spears concert or like Adele.
But in 1975 they would have, and there's no reason that this has to reflect 2022, right?
They said it was the 21st century.
Okay, but to me, it's still it's like.
And literally every other pop culture callback is like from current culture.
Okay, but I don't know. I didn't care about that one bit. Like, I mean, is Kermit the Frog a reference to a 2022 Kermit the Frog or a 1972 Kermit the Frog, right? Like, I don't know. At this point, aren't these inaccuracies expected? It's like watching a Western movie and like, wait a minute, they didn't even have that kind of horse in Nevada at that time. You know what I mean? Like, I personally don't care about that at all. I don't know. I just think
it's not even that I care about it. It's that like, I also don't even care that they weren't at a strip club, but it just seemed like a weird way to shoehorn in Bortus singing again, and then actually bringing up the fact that everyone is in on the joke. Bortus thinks he's like this amazing singer, but everyone's like, he's terrible.
Mm. Well, you know what's funny is even the Orville fandom.com thing pointed out that this contradicts the previous episode where Bortus actually was a good singer. So now
that's true. Yeah.
Now it's a joke because he's a bad singer. So which one is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it seems like what's happened is at the very least they have changed a lot. They've thrown a lot of things out the window just for the sake of a cheap laugh.
Trying to shoehorn some comedy in.
Right, for a lot of things. Not like so like Bortus is singing, the strip club robot, a couple other things we mentioned that just don't really add up.
No, and like Malloy sings again.
Yeah, I just
like,
saw it. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that because as soon as he picked up his guitar, I started hitting the skip button, and then now we're in the credits. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not. I maybe it was a good song. I don't know. I didn't listen to it.
You know what? That was like
was
that's
fine.
how it ended, right? Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like, you
That
see the
was
ship fly
so
off, and he's still
long.
singing.
Yeah,
and,
that was ridiculous. But you know what else? To me, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't suit his character. He's supposed to be the goofy, funny guy, but he's also supposed to be taken seriously as this really good singer. It just doesn't fit for me. Because that's an example where, first of all, let's be clear, we don't care. What's the actor's name again?
Scott Grimes.
We don't care if he can sing. It has nothing to do with the story.
No.
So why consistently keep shoving it down our throats?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
like
because kids like music.
kids.
It'll make this show popular.
Yeah, like I thought at first that he was just going to be like Firefly, like Wash, the funny guy who's also an excellent pilot. Mm-hmm. You know, who's kind of
Right.
like snappy and smart and kind of a buffoon, but like when it comes to piloting a ship, he's your man. But no, they turned him into this, you know.
Well,
I don't even want to mention the episode where he like goes back in time for love, but like, okay. There's so many dimensions of his character that are like, oh, that's an interesting way to like place to bring him. And then they put a guitar in his hands, but yeah.
Yep. Everyone hates that guy. Anyway, the other weird thing I want to point out, I know that this season, like, episodes 1 to 5 were filmed sort of at once, and then 6 to 10 were spread out a little bit over the next year or whatever. Has anyone noticed how quickly Claire's older son is aging? Like, he is like a giant now, for one, and he looks so much older than the little one. Did you notice that?
Now that you're mentioning it, yeah.
Yeah, like, he's changed so much.
Yeah, I think usually within like when you're like in the period of like the eighth and ninth grade, in that little age gap, you either stay looking like 8,
Right.
or you look 21.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those kids too. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Like our friend John Davis, his son Bobby, aged immediately.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think it's just puberty.
Yeah.
I mean, standing next to Topa, I guess, is not necessarily something that. Well, watching Topa age from an infant to, a teenager in the span of 2 seasons.
Oh yeah.
It's not quite as
Right.
So Marcus got old too.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Oh no.
Go ahead.
It was like, well, if we get a season 4, Ty will look like an adult man the next time we see him. So.
Yeah, probably. So obviously, I want the show to come back. I'm sure that you guys do too.
Well, it needs to redeem itself a little bit after this episode, I think. So it's not the way I want to see the show go out.
No, definitely not. No, I mean, okay. Here's the thing. So let's talk about season 3 overall. Like a slight little mini recap. From the sounds from my faulty memory, it had I thought it had a good start and then a really weird 3 or 4 episode rut, and then it came back and then it's kind of did one of these S curves. So it's certainly an inconsistent season, and I would say it's the most inconsistent season, the least consistent season.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not happy with the season in general. I mean, there was a couple of gems here and there, but for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing: is season 1. I don't know which one was better, season 1 or 2, but the humor in season 2 definitely kind of matured a little bit, which is good. But the funny thing is that since we've only had 36 episodes, it is remarkable to think that, like, the first season of Star Trek was 28 episodes. And so in 3 seasons, we've only got to 36. But that's just the way things are now, right? Mm-hmm. TV shows just don't have as big seasons now. So I hope they can go longer than this, 36 episodes, though. But there's only so much we can do, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever. No, I don't mean whatever. I'm just trying to reconcile my feelings as quickly as possible because that's what this media is all about. But like, there's just okay. I think that seeing that people who have never watched the Orville, who are seeing it on Disney Plus for the first time and only watching season 3 and enjoying it is enough for me as a fan of the show to be happy for the show, despite my feelings. I love reading the things that people are writing in Are the Orville who've never watched the show and are like, is this what you guys have been talking about? I can't believe I was missing this. This is wonderful. And then finding cool things about the things that I may or may not have liked. I think that is where I'm kind of deriving the most joy at this point. Because I don't know if this is it.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. As someone who loves Star Trek, I feel like, in my opinion, anyone on Earth who likes Star Trek should have watched this show, but they haven't, which boggles my mind. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Some of those people are like dead now. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but the fact that I still have to kind of like sell this to people. Like, why are you not already watching this? Why does it take me to sell it? You know, that boggles my mind. But whatever. I mean, there's obviously shows I don't want.
You have a bunch of people that are sort of just set in their ways in terms of, I like this, I don't know that, so I'm not going to take a chance on it. And the fact that this show is sort of a send-up or a pastiche of theirs, it's something that some people may be uncomfortable taking that leap, or they may feel that it's an affront to something that they already hold dear. I can see a bunch of reasons why people would be reluctant. They're all stupid reasons. And if you who is listening as one of those people, well, first of all, why are you listening to an Orville podcast if you haven't watched the Orville? Second of all, get your head out of your ass and watch the show, because it's something you're gonna like.
For the final, I mean, I don't know if we've touched on this yet, but despite recommendations by so many people, including my favorite writer David Mamet, I do not like the movie Galaxy Quest at all. I've tried to watch it 3 times and I didn't like it at all. I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it was well written. Nothing. What about you guys?
Never seen it.
Well, Jolie, never seen it?
Sorry, David Mamet suggests watching it?
He thinks it's great.
I remember really liking it when it first came out because I think it was younger when it came out. But I haven't seen it since. I don't really remember it. I just remember that Tim Allen, like in the Tim Allen heyday, like he was the go-to dad in a show, so, or in whatever.
And I can understand at the time it came out, maybe there was nothing else like it, and you know, it was poking fun at specific things about Star Trek and the actors. Okay, fine, but now that novelty is over and there's so many more better satires of Star Trek, I don't see a reason for anyone to watch that. I mean, it's just like Spaceballs. Like, I like Spaceballs and I love Rick Moranis in Spaceballs, but it's not a great satire.
No, not really.
No.
But as you know, as it exists, it's
fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, unfortunately, this is it for our review of Future Unknown. And the future of Orville is unknown. Therefore, the future of MORE-VILLE Orville is unknown. So this could be the last episode of the show. And even if it isn't, it will be, I predict, at least 2 years before you hear from us again, right?
Oh, we'll find some reason to
pollute the airwaves.
With our pointless opinions.
Bile. Who knows what'll happen? Yeah, there might be a Star Trek review in there somewhere. There might be something else. So definitely keep your ears and eyes peeled. I don't know. Anything else? Ian, do you want to say anything? Why don't you tell everybody what's going on? You're the owner of Meteor. What's going on with Meteor?
Oh, we're not doing anything Orville related.
Okay. If that's what
However,
I'm
the bar's name is Meteor.
Yeah.
So and there's some
it
very
is space themed, yes.
Strong bad references.
Oh, I do have a strong bad up on the menu, yeah. But we've got all sorts of interesting stuff going on. MeteorWindsor.com, I believe, is our website. Have all our events posted up there. Little shameless plug.
Yeah.
And G.I.Jolie is the owner of Tastemaker Studio and The Long Box, the comic store and food store not respectively, in reverse order, in St. Thomas.
Yes. So we specialize in new and used comics and graphic novels, and now graded. We sell graded books as well. We're also offering pressing and cleaning for those who are also looking for that kind of a service. But we also sell cool snacks and drinks. And because I'm Asian, specifically Thai, I've decided that this town needs an international shelf of specifically Asian snacks and drinks. So I'm currently building a whole ramen shelf, folks. South Korea is really coming for everyone's ramen game. I'm telling you, like the instant noodle game is getting killed by the South Koreans. So,
all right,
throw a piece of cheese on it.
I own nothing, but I am doing a movie, so look for it soon. Filmed partially in Meteor, and it's called Thunder Snake. And G.I.Jolie did the art direction, so that will be coming your way soon. By the time this episode airs, in 2 days. Anyway, so I guess that's it. You can find every episode of MORE-VILLE Orville at www.comicbooksyndicate.com. Like we said, there's more to come. Hopefully, you can also watch we have reviewed Star Trek in the past. We've reviewed thousands of comic books, hundreds of TV shows, dozens of movies. So be sure to check us out there. I want to thank G.I.Jolie and Champ-Ian for doing a whirlwind 3 seasons in 1 year, right? Because we technically did the first 2 seasons, like we barreled through them in like several weeks, so that was fun. And and then we did season 3 in real time, and hopefully we will be back for a season 4. So cross your fingers, folks, and let's hope that there's more where that came from.